Good morning. It's 8th of October and Nigel is clearing up the polytunnel from the tomatoes which are now spent, and we're still harvesting. We're actually harvesting quite a lot. These are the outdoor tomatoes, so we're still picking those. As soon as they kind of blush to that kind of color, I pick them up. These are the Crimson Crush, no blight. They've been very wet for the last couple of weeks. I have done that before, and they do color beautifully to the normal color when you dry them up and put them in a dark corner. Well, I also picked up a whole bag, and I'll show you a picture later of all the other squashes, but I have here some of my uchikikuri. And I had one Hokkaido pumpkin and quite lots of Turkish turban. And the Turkish turban, and some of them I grew for the very first time. And I have to say, the Turkish turban I found very delicate in flavor, very quickly cooking, not very dense, really lovely with that kind of roast vegetables. So it will be coming back. I haven't tasted these yet, but obviously we will see if they come back next year. I'm planning to plant quite a few squashes and pumpkins. So Nigel is just doing the clearance. We're gonna start with day's chores, and I try to show you what else we're doing. As a last thing, we just started harvesting purple and yellow beans, and I might show you that. I've got masses of spinach to harvest today, and Swiss chard. What else? Loads and loads of parsley. Till last week we still were harvesting cucumbers, and I've got loads of red cabbage. We have some things which didn't work, but we will look at that at our normal monthly allotment tour. So I'll see you later. All of the trees are on very sort of small rootstocks. I mean small, restricted. There will be pixies or M29 or really small. I don't really want trees to be taller than about 3 meters high, maximum, preferably 2 to 2.5. And I couldn't resist to get some couple more, and I'm just gonna unpack them. So I know this is it might be fairly boring, so I will try to speed it up. So the first one is an apricot, and the other one is a fig. We had fig here originally, and unfortunately it didn't survive that first year after planting. That was the only tree we lost. I purchased, is obviously personal choice. If I got what I wanted in a supermarket, I would, or I'm not managed to get there on time or so on. However, these are from Blackmore nursery in Hampshire, and we had the first sort of fruit harvest this year from something we planted a couple of years ago, and they were lovely. So I'm carrying on with the same supplier, but this is not advert for them whatsoever. I'm just saying, for me, they do work. So these are well packed and look quite big. They are not bare root. These come in pots. So I might have to lay it down. I have an idea to plant one of them behind me, where the rest of the fruit trees are, and that would be the apricot. And the second one we might just put because it is patio fig, so we could plant that in a pot. Okay, so the first one is here, and I can see it's a pretty big specimen. Well, some of it will go into the soil. Okay, I have to be careful. They have lots of staplers. I don't want to. So I can see that this would be an apricot. Can you see? I mean, this is not as tall as it is. It's got a pot. It will go into the soil. Apricot, flavor coat. Is on Montclair root, and this is 2-year bush in 12-litre pot. So when I take it out, sorry, this is not very. So it's this height, but actually, if you take another foot off, it's only really that height. It's a beautiful specimen. I'm ever so pleased with this, and I will put it to the side when Nigel arrived. He's running some of his personal errands this morning, which couldn't be helped. I mean, I managed to break one of the lower branches, but that's okay. It would have been nicer shape, but that's okay. So I'm gonna now try to convey the second one. Also keep that. Along the packaging, we do need light. As I said before, it don't need to be planted straight away. So this is the only, I think, advantage of not buying bare root. That with bare root you have to soak them and cover them with soil if you're not going to do the planting straight away. These guys can wait for a week or two. That's what they would be doing in the nursery, waiting for somebody to want them. There we go. And that is the fig. The fig is different, slightly different to the one I planted before. The other one was actually bare root. This one is called Little Miss Figgy. When I first wrote it, I thought Little Miss Figgy, but it's Little Miss Figgy. And they have smaller roots. They can be planted in a pot, and I have a feeling that that's what is going to happen in the first instance to this bush. Okay, so what I've got here very nice. This is just a normal Provencal garlic. We got that on our trip to Provence this year. So I've got 3 different types. I've got the names. I think this was the most expensive one. I'll put the names on. So I will put that to the right hand side. I've got another slightly different, and then this one I think is probably the most common, the biggest bulb actually of the Provencal. I never grew it, so I have no idea how that is going to take. But I also have 3 cloves of the elephant garlic. And let's not be fooled, these are elephant cloves. They're enormous. I got them from Premier Seeds Direct. When they sent the original emails that they are available, they sold within 2 hours. So just as well, it paid off on this occasion to get them. So I will plant these right in the middle across here, and then in sections I will do a bit of the different varieties. And so the most common is going to go to the left, then the second best and the best by price, I'll put the names on, is going to the right. So I'm going to just get on with it. I'm not going to bore you. We will plant, I will give these a little bit more space around, and I will plant this garlic. I've planted fairly densely, but because they're quite big, I might do sort of 4 or 5 inches apart, and let's see how they perform being in a slightly different climate. Well, this is the last of the garlics I'm planting now, and that massive, the biggest bulb, only divided into 10 separate cloves, and this is probably like one of the biggest. The smallest is probably that one. So we've prepped the pot. There's a horse manure, well rotted, and then we're going to fill it with more compost. So I'm just going to take a couple of leaves here of. They do lose leaves. They do lose leaves for winter, so that is now planted. I'm going to water it, and now just bringing some more compost just to fill up to the pot, to the top of the pot. So let me just do that. Well, I think that is it. This is as sheltered and sunny as it will get on this side, and if it's not happy, we can move it. So I think the fig is in place. Just one more look at the label. So this is Little Miss Figgy 2-year-old bush in 7-litre pot. So the garlic is all planted out and topped up with green compost. So hopefully once it starts showing the green tips, I will put some netting on so the birds don't pull at it. But I'm quite excited about that. And just here, because that's been the background. This is how many more tomatoes we have on these bushes, and you know, it's quite a lot of tomatoes still to come. Let's hope there is no frost and we can harvest some of them. This is what I'm saying, they're blushing. That's what I'm saying. This is the color when I think they're kind of blushing, and even if you pick them up, they will color to red. The rest of the green ones, you know, we just process for green tomato chutney. So Nigel have cleared up all the leaves and some of the tomatoes. We're just waiting for maybe a couple of them still ripening. I do love these, and these have been really good this year. So there'll be couple coming here, then everything. What a shame, it's so much still there. As long as we don't get the oh, look at those two. Wow, what can you say? So as long as we don't have frost, they should be okay. Some of my potatoes just germinated, so I'm not sure if they're going to be any good for Christmas. But as they are already in pots, I'm just going to leave them and see if they're going to do anything. So these are still curing, and I've got on the tray on the right, I've got 4 of these uchikikuri squashes and couple of the Hokkaido pumpkins. These are slightly different, they don't have this elongated neck. Very small this year, crown prince, and quite collection here of the Turkish turban. The little ones I will use as decoration. There's some big ones, some medium-sized ones, and a couple of other squashes. I'm not quite sure which ones they are. So overall, not a great haul from fairly big area. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to harvest some of these lovely cabbages. I mean, they're really quite spectacular. We will need the bed soon. And let me just pick a couple. That is a nice cabbage. I've already harvested one. And let me just show it closer. Very crisp, lovely morning. But that looks like a nice cabbage, and this is the second one I'm picking today. I'm actually going to clear the bed and see what's what.
Well, that's it, another Sunday morning done. We've planted the new apricot tree. Yesterday we planted the fig tree, and then we tried to find some volunteer potatoes and some beetroot, which the slugs and mice hadn't eaten. Muggy's cleared the red cabbage bed, and
Just because the mice were already finished the white cabbage and we're starting on the red cabbage, so lovely 7 heads of red cabbage. Yum!
and then we covered up the artichoke bed because there's some cauliflowers in there.
Yes, so we will show certain things during our next installment. That's next week, about, you know, with our usual allotment tour in October. We're also harvesting still the beans, the dwarf beans are now really coming along nicely. We still have the outdoor tomatoes, few tomatoes left in a polytunnel. Managed to put all the Christmas potatoes in a polytunnel behind us. I harvested some more chilies and so on. So it's been a busy week, and before we go home we will suit and boot and go and prepare our bees at least one of the hives for winter, and the second hive we might need to put some more treatment because the varroa count for that hive was a bit high. The other one didn't have anything whatsoever, so I'm very surprised, but the one of them is needs another treatment. So there we go. Let's hope we don't get stung, and wishing you all a lovely weekend, what is left of this, and a sunny week, and hopefully see you next week.
That's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Take care.
Bye.
now.